Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the latest release from Helstar. Just an amazing power metal slash thrash band. They just released a new album called The Devil's Masquerade. And Helstar are one of those bands for me that either it's good or it's great. I've never heard a bad release from them. And in this one, we have great. The Devil's Masquerade was released on September 12th, 2025, but it was kind of difficult to get. It wasn't like massively produced. So I listened to it, I streamed it and listened to it, but I could not wait to get my hands on the actual CD itself. I finally did, got to listen to it on my appropriate stereo system. So freaking good. This marks a dramatic and confident resurgence for really one of the most enduring heavy metal acts to come out of Texas and just America in general. After nearly a decade without a full-length studio album, these Houston legends returned with a record that blends their classic 80s DNA with modern heaviness, horror-themed storytelling like we got in, Vampiro and Nosferatu, still going down that same route. And of course, just razor-sharp musicianship. So, just to go back, if you're not familiar with Helstar, they were formed in the 1980s, mid-1980s. They came up along other American bands like Armored Saint, Wasp, Lizzie Borden. Their early albums, Burning Star, Remnants of War, especially A Distant Thunder in '88, really cemented them as cult favorites known for technical guitar work and James Rivera's soaring operatic vocals. And by the mid-2010s, the band's output had really slowed down. Their last full-length effort, the aforementioned Vampiro, that was like nearly 10 years ago. And there was an EP in 2021, but it was like 3 new songs and 3 covers, and I really didn't know where they were going. But this album came in like the tail end of 2025, and it marked a return to their sort of thrash power metal roots. It has a very good production, very modern production. Of course, along with James Rivera, Larry Berrigan, who is this, songwriter. And on this album, we get them plus Alan DeLeon is on guitars, Garrick Smith is on bass, and Michael Lewis is playing drums. The album was produced and mixed by Larry Berrigan at Hombre Malo Studios with mastering by Robert Colwell. This gave the record a really tight, punchy sound, crisp enough for modern metal, but it still sounds warm and organic like those, heavy metal albums from the 80s. The dual guitar harmonies definitely harken back to A Distant Thunder and Nosferatu. Rivera still has his operatic vocals, but it's mixed prominently with like these visceral rage vocals. And the rhythm section hits harder than it ever has on most Helstar albums. The result is a sound that feels both new and nostalgic, so no arguments here. Helstar's always flirted with dark themes and sometimes delved right into them, like when it came to, Vampiro, Nosferatu, a handful of other albums. But with The Devil's Masquerade, they really get into like the cinema and supernatural storytelling. According to the release, they draw inspirations from like Annabelle, Midnight Mass, classic Twilight Zones episodes, and that really cool movie that came out, kind of came and went with a lot of fanfare, The Exorcist Pope. And the record explores demonic possession, vampirism, moral corruption, spiritual warfare, occult rituals, honestly just humanity's downfall in general. And like I said, the album is very cinematic, very horror cinematic. Each track a sort of differing nightmare. And speaking of tracks, the first track is this quick instrumental but very brief atmospheric intro. It sort of sets the tone of the album with its ambiance. And then the first track is the title track, The Devil's Masquerade. It's fast, it's melodic, it's theatrical, classic Helstar. Stygian Miracles, is like this mid-tempo, dark, melodic track, and it references the River Styx. There's a really heavy song on there, track 4, Carcass for a King, is definitely the heaviest song on the album. And there's a handful of, I will tell you, there's this really beautiful piece called The Haunting Mirror. It's about possession and identity. It's really atmospheric. It's got these eerie guitar textures. And the closer is epic. I mean, not in length, but definitely in the grandiose musical style. It's called I Am the Way. And it's really about dichotomy of salvation and damnation, light and dark, good and evil. It's a very cool song. You will not be let down by this album. If you're even the slightest fan of technical thrash mixed with power metal, or, you know, an old head who loved Helstar back in the day, I think you'll really dig it. The album's art kind of caught some flack because even though it definitely identifies with the lyrical content, some of the reviewers have sort of criticized the digital style as less impactful than painted covers. But to be honest, I mean, if you're a band like Helstar, if you're a band like Obituary, or some of these bands that, you know, these guys work jobs and have to do other things because their music doesn't make enough money to sustain them, then AI or digital art or something is the way to go. I mean, yeah, those painted covers were great, but you do what you have to do. I think the cover rocks. I think the cover works well. It really does. The imagery aligns with the album's themes of demonic masquerade and occult ritual. It was released in limited vinyl, various kind of colors. There was a limited media book, which is what I finally got, and I'm so happy I got it. And of course, you can get it on digital release. You can buy it digitally that way, or just stream it, you know, whatever you want to do. The critical reception has been great. Metal Gods TV gave it a 10 out of 10, talking about a heavy-hitting, powerful return to form. Metal Forces magazine, which I've loved since I was a kid, gave it an 8.5 out of 10. They, of course, praised the two things that always draws you as a fan to Helstar, which is James Rivera's vocals and Larry Berrigan's guitar work. I think they even called it a tour de force, which, you know, tends to get used. If you love Helstar, if you love that sort of classic sound, it is that with punchier, kind of more modern production. You won't be let down by the songwriting. And the horror themes are fantastic. It's a fantastic production. So I'm really hoping, because this is, like I said, the first full length in like 9 years, with the exception of that little EP. I hope we get more from them, because when you hear this album does not sound like a band on the way out. It's like they still have a lot more to say. So The Devil's Masquerade, it definitely stands as one of Helstar's strongest late career statements. It blends the band's classic power metal with modern production, revitalized lineup. For longtime fans, I promise you it is a thrilling return. And if you've never listened to him, this is a gateway into one of America's most underrated heavy metal legacies. And I do mean that. They are a legendary band. And so, yeah, if you get a chance to check out The Devil's Masquerade, I also highly recommend their classics like A Distant Thunder, Nosferatu, and some of their later albums like the aforementioned Vampiro. Without a doubt, The Glory of Chaos is very, very good, and The King of Hell. And if you're an old fan of Helstar, but maybe you haven't kind of kept up with them, definitely check out this album, and you will not be let down. So anyway, thank you for sticking with me through this review. I may have meandered a bit, but I really appreciate your time and my subscribers. And I will see you in the next video. Later.